The MMA fortune teller.
The teller, the teller, the teller, the teller, the teller, the teller.
What's up, you guys? The Ultimate Fighter Season 29, Episode 5 recap. Filming this late on a Thursday night. Enjoyed myself a little bit of tequila, watched some baseball, and it's been a good night. I figured I'd hop on the mic here and we'd recap this episode. Saw it yesterday evening, and I thought it was a decent episode. You guys know that I've been rooting for this guy, Bryan Battle, so we got to see him in action. Real quick, before we get into the recap of the episode, I do have my UFC 264 prediction video up already, so if you guys want to catch that, for those of you that didn't see that, that's there for you. If you want to get a leg up on the fight card, it's not taking place this Saturday, remember, but next Saturday, the following Saturday. I just threw up a little video of the Joe Schilling bar incident. If you guys saw that, just a couple of my thoughts upon that. And that's something you could expect to see in the near future, just random videos like that. I want to get more and more content out to you guys besides just analyzing these fight cards and the Ultimate Fighter. I want to get as much content that I can get out to you guys now. So expect more stuff like that. Let me know if you guys liked it. What else we got going on? So Sugar Sean O'Malley, his opponent, did pull out. Luis Smoka. So just real quick, I broke down that fight on the fight card, but Sean O'Malley will now be fighting Chris Montino, a guy that's 9-4. He's 2-2 in his last 4 professional fights here. Won his last 2, lost 2 before that. A lot of finishes there too, right? All of his last 4 fights did not go to the distance. I would say that would probably help make that an interesting fight there. But I think it didn't matter if he got finished often or not, because Sean O'Malley's just on a different level, in my opinion. But nevertheless, that fight will be broke down and it'll be uploaded to you at a later time. Let's get into today's episode. I'm rambling here. And again, episode 5, we had Comron Lachinov taking on Bryan Battle. As you see the bracket here, this was in the middleweight division. And Bryan Battle right here in the bottom right, who took on Kemran Lachinov. And, we saw a little bit about these guys. Again, it's funny. I said that I liked Bryan Battle towards the beginning of the show before I even saw them go in depth with him and his whole situation. And then I saw him with his family, and I liked the guy even more. You could tell he's just a super good dude. Seems to be just from a good family. Seems like he's got his stuff together. I think he has a child on the way coming, and seems like he has a nice girlfriend, a nice family, all that. So I'm really rooting for this guy. He's hustling. He does some trade work, during the day. Sometimes he said he wakes up 7 o'clock. He doesn't even come home till 10, 7 in the morning. He's gone all day working and training. So you got to respect this guy's grind. And Comron also, on the other hand, this guy is a tough dude. His family doesn't want him fighting. He says, forget about that, man. This guy's a fighter. So you got to respect his whole thing too. And, but before we get to the fight here, I do want to talk about, how about this situation? We got Mitch the Possum Rapasso. That's what I'm going to start calling him throughout the season here. He's the Possum. And, I say that joking around, of course, because I think this guy is very talented. But on this past episode, he wanted to pick a little bit of a fight with Andre Petroski. You got Andre right over here in the back right. You guys know Andre Petroski fought in episode 1, and he's absolutely no joke. He's way, way bigger of a man. He's a middleweight fighter that is a nasty middleweight fighter, too, at that. So, I know it wasn't like they were going to fight or nothing, but still, it really wasn't necessarily just like he was joking around, at least in my opinion, because if you guys remember, first off, it was just kind of an awkward way he approached him. There was no smiling or laughing about it. And then at the end of it, he was muttering some curse words as he walked away. When they cut out to the commercial break, you heard the possum chirping there. When you know that if Petroski wanted to, he could eat him alive. But I'm going to say that Mitch Rapasso is the black sheep of the show now, and Trayshawn Gores is moving his way up the rankings right now. So, that's how I feel about that. Just to touch upon that real quick. And again, Mitch Rapasso is a very talented fighter. I do believe that. He was the number 1 pick in the bantamweight division for Volkanovski, and we will see him in a big fight in the near future. He'll have another chance to right the ship there. So more to come with that. But in the meantime, like I said, today's episode, Bryan Battle taking on Kemran Lachinov. And, this was a fight, 2 of the guys that were picked later in the competition, if you remember. I think they were actually the last 2 middleweight fighters picked. And this guy, Bryan Battle, way less experienced than Comron. Bryan Battle only 5-1 as a professional. Comron 10-3. Had a fight in Bellator. Had some flashes on the feet where he looked like he was a pretty tough and talented striker, a decent striker. So going into this fight, he had the experience in his hand. This guy, Bryan Battle, though, he really showed up in this fight. Once this fight kicked off, you saw the footwork, you saw the athleticism, the flexibility. I was actually surprised. I didn't expect Battle to be as athletic in there or as good with his footwork as he did show us in some of his fights that I watched him previously. But again, this guy's growing. He's getting better and better. And you want to talk about a guy that's going to get the most from the show. I think Bryan Battle is the guy. I think he's going to get the most from the show. Depending on how far he goes, we'll see. And, this is the bracket here. And, he still has a couple fights to go before we can start talking about all that. But this guy, win or lose, how he goes through this tournament, I think that he's still going to gain a lot from this show. The experience of just rubbing shoulders with a guy like Volkanovski, a champion, and his whole team there. And just he got in the game kind of late, so you're going to see him get better and better, okay? So, yeah, like I said, using the footwork. How about this, man? There was a couple moments in this fight. Of course, Bryan Battle gets the victory, but there was a couple moments in this fight where Lachinov was keeping his hands low. That's a little thing he likes to do. He likes to show off and drop his hands and walk forward. And I would have liked to have seen Battle, plant his feet and really step forward and throw a shot at the chin. He was more on his bike the entire fight. He's a volume fighter, which I think will pay off for him in a lot of fights. But at that moment, when you see him really going forward like that, I think you got to step forward and try to put him out. We just saw a viral video. I don't know if you guys saw this, where this guy's sparring in a boxing ring, and he's doing that same thing, walking forward, and he's eating a bunch of shots, flush shots too, right to the cheek and the side of the head. But that didn't knock him out. You know what knocked him out? That last one that just grazed the edge of his chin, shook the head, shook the brain, put him out. And when a guy wants to put his hands down like that, I think that's a skill that I think people should focus on, because you might come across that guy that does that once in a blue. I think that guys should train that. I do. I think every little inch you can get to your game will help out, and I think guys should focus in. And when they see a guy doing that stupidly, focus on just touching that chin with a little bit of a hook. Just step into it. I know a little bit easier said than done, but I'm just saying. But other than that, Battle threw a couple of shots at him, just was touching him up, and then he actually threw a head kick as well. Showed the flexibility. Battle looked really good. Stuffed the takedowns. The entire fight just looked really, really good. So he gets the victory there. He'll now be facing off against the winner of Miles Hunsinger and Gilbert Urbina. Gilbert Urbina is a guy that I'm interested in seeing there. So yeah, he'll be fighting in the near future, Gilbert Urbina, but not on next week's episode. On next week's episode, we got a really, really solid fight here. Very much looking forward to this. We got Ricky Turcios taking on Dan Argueta. Ricky Turcios, if you guys remember, I talked about this a little bit. Ricky Turcios was on Dana White's Contender Series a while back. He's only 28 now. So, that was 4 years ago. He's 24 years old at the time. I'm sure he's grown a lot. He's only had 3 professional fights since then. He lost to Boston Salmon on the show. Boston Salmon. If you guys remember, Boston Salmon was a guy that had a lot of professional boxing experience. Let me just talk about him real quick. People were really high on him. He got his chance in the UFC. He actually had a boxing match where he went to decision. I think it was Terrence Crawford, one of the best boxers in the game, I believe. But, just to explain his experience with the boxing, he's been having a really tough time, though, man. This illegal knee that he won, he got smashed with a nasty illegal knee. I'm sure a lot of you guys saw that over in LFA. So that really wasn't a win. This guy's been taking damage, 3 nasty knockouts in a row. He gets way too comfortable in there. He thinks he has the gloves to protect himself. He's sleeping on the job. I don't know, man. Just talk about that quick. But Salmon did look very good against Turcios. But like I said, Turcios was young and gets 2 of his last 3 fights there. This guy, Mana Martinez, not a bad fighter either. A guy we've seen fight on Dana White's Contender Series. He fought that guy Draco Rodriguez. He lost. But, a guy that was talented enough to fight on the show, Dana White's Contender Series. And I think Ricky is a well-rounded fighter. He has a little bit of an issue here, though, because he's fighting this guy, Daniel Argueta, who is a beast. I've been breaking down some tape on him, whatever I could pull up. This is a solid fight here. You could see him taking on Roger Severson at Combate Stockton. Imagine being at Combate Stockton, pounding a bunch of Dos Equis and some tequila, and I'm sure you're getting a little fight out there. But I'm way over here in the East Coast. I got to look out for guys like Schillen marching around. But this guy Dan Argueta is a beast. He has the wrestling background, the wrestling pedigree. You could see him, and he just super technical, super strong. He rips guys down to the mat. Beautiful position down there. Reigns in some nasty ground and pound. 5-0, so needs to get more experience. Talk about another guy that's going to get a lot from the show. This is a guy here, right? Finished 4 of his 5 fights. Has experience on the LFA scene. I got to say he's the favorite going into this fight against Ricky. I think he'll be stronger with the wrestling, and I'm going to pick him to win this fight. I think he was the number 1 pick, actually, as well. He was the number 1 pick for Team Ortega. So, I know Volkanovski finally just got a win on the show, but I don't know, man. It's not looking so good for him. But again, Ricky's a solid fighter too, so let's not count him out there. But we'll see how that fight goes. It's been hard to judge these fights, going into these fights. It's not a lot of information on these guys. Not as much as comparing it to these UFC cards for the most part. Now, the winner of this fight should be fighting the winner of Brady Haston and Joshua Reddinghouse. I believe that's how that's going to work. Trying to figure that out because I don't know if they're going to try to keep teammates from not fighting each other. I don't think they would actually. No, I think teammates are just going to start fighting regardless because they can't bank on it being an even amount of each other team. So yeah, man, the winner of this fight will get Reddinghouse or Haston, I believe, unless anyone wants to correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. But again, here's a look at the 2 brackets. Some big fights coming up. How about Tresean Gore versus Andre Petroski? Tell me you guys are not excited for that fight. That's going to be, I think, the highlight of the show. All right. So what else? Yeah, man, I've been getting a lot of views on these recaps. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. It means a lot to me. I'm excited about watching each and every one of these shows. So it's cool to kind of share my thoughts and chat it up with you guys in the comment section. So please do comment below. Please like this video, subscribe. And on that note, signing out, Teller.
The MMA fortune teller.
The teller.